Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. I witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except God, Allah alone, the one and only. There is none like unto him. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. And I witness that Muhammad is his servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. Brothers and sisters, honored pioneers, imams, we greet you, assalamu alaikum again. First, let me say that I'm so honored to be here tonight with you in Atlanta, Georgia. I am no stranger to this community at all. We had a wonderful Jummah prayer yesterday at Masjid Mu'minun, and we look forward to having a very, very wonderful ta'aleem tomorrow, inshallah, where I will share with you, as I started yesterday, will share with you personal, up close and personal information from the leader, our leader, Imam Muhammad, the last 12 months to 16 months of his life. I was there, I worked with him very close, and as I said Jummah yesterday, not a week passed, and I thank Allah for that blessing, but not a week passed the last 12 months of Imam Muhammad's life that I was not speaking with him at least 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes more than that. And numerous visits with him, and he shared so much information and knowledge of this religion, and so much in terms of directives, what he wanted for the future of our community, and we're doing it. We're continuing what he wanted. So I will share that with you all tomorrow, inshallah, at Masjid Mu'minun for ta'aleem. And I also encouraged everyone to bring your hard, tough questions. I heard some of your rumblings down here in Atlanta. So bring all those really tough questions tomorrow. And I'm not going to speak for myself. I'm going to give you, as best I can with Allah's help, what our leader shared with us for those last 12 months of his life that I was there up close and personal. Now, tonight, I'm going to thank Imam Farkan for inviting me, and also my good friend, where is he? I saw him earlier, Saeed. Where's Saeed? Oh, Saeed. There's Saeed, sitting with his wife later there. It's my good buddy from Jacksonville, Florida, who was after me for months, many months. You got to come to Masjid Mu'minun. I said, just send me an invitation. We're Muslims. It's no problem. I love to come there. I have a lot of friends in Atlanta, Georgia. A.K. Sabir, Lauren Shamsuddin, my good buddy Hakeem Ali. I said, I got a lot of friends down there. I used to live down here. My son graduated from the school, played with Ishmael Muhammad. You all know that. Muhammad was the point guard for W.D. Muhammad High School when Ishmael was there. And so he graduated from that school here in Alicia back in 2000, I believe it was. Graduated with Cassie. That was in 2000 you all graduated, right? 2001 they graduated. So he was in the class of 2001, W.D. Muhammad High School. And he lived with Hakeem and his family, his wife there. So we're no strangers here. So I want to thank you all for having me here with you this weekend. Now what I have to say tonight, now I'm going to talk to our pioneers. This is especially for you all. Yep, this is especially for the pioneers tonight, that what I have to share with you from the Quran and from our leader, our teacher, Imam W.D. Muhammad, especially for our pioneers. Now, Brother Earl, wa alaikum assalam, you got it started for me tonight. So you started right off. I said, oh, he didn't see my notes. I know he didn't see that. When he started with that prayer. Yeah, chapter 6 of the Quran. See if you remember this. Say, surely my prayer and my service of sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No partner has he. This am I commanded, and I am the first of those who bow to his will. How many of y'all remember that prayer? That was our Al-Fatiha. We didn't have an Al-Fatiha. No, we didn't know Al-Fatiha. This is the prayer we knew. And now in the Quran, it's chapter 6. I'm going to give it to you so you can go back and find it later if you like to. Chapter 6, verse 162. But what I'd like for you to do, now remember, where did we get this prayer from? Talk to me now. This is not Juma. Where did we get this prayer? Honor Elijah Muhammad. Now, pay particular attention. Now, in this chapter 6, and I'm going to give it to you quickly because some of us did learn it in Arabic. قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَالنُّسُكِ وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ وَأَنَّ أَوَّلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Pardon me. صَدَقَ اللَّهُ الْعَظِيمُ. God the Mighty spoke the truth. But here's what I want you all to do, pioneers, and others if you like, but I'm talking to the pioneers tonight, and I have something for them that will, I pray Allah will lighten their soul and liven their soul, and just, because I know you all went through a lot. Well, you went through a lot. But what I want you to do, when you go home later, I want you to read in the same chapter 6, but read the verse above it, 161. Okay? And read, now remember, you said who gave us this prayer? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Don't pick up that language from these other folk out there. Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what we call him. And I gave you the verses on that yesterday in Juma, 17 and 70. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And surely we have given honor to all of the children of Adam. All right, that includes the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. All right? I want you to read verse 161 above it. And I also want you to read verse 164 beneath 162 and 163. Because if you open the Quran, now Elijah Muhammad gave us this, but if you open the Quran, it's next to impossible to read those two verses that are in the middle without seeing 161 and 164. So he was conditioning us. Now I'm going to read 161 for you. Because if you open the Quran, look what he had right above that. It says, say, verily my Lord has guided me to a way that is straight. It is the religion of the right, the path trod by Ibrahim. Deen al-Qiyamah. Deen al-Qiyamah. It is the way that is straight. Mustaqima ila sirata mustaqina. Deen al-Qiyamah. It is the way that is straight. A religion that is Qiyamah upright. It is the path trod by Abraham, the true in faith. Now listen at the end of this. And surely he did not join gods with Allah. Now you said Don Elijah Muhammad gave us this prayer, and he did. Now look at verse 164 beneath the other two. Say, shall I seek for my cherisher other than Allah, God, when he is the cherisher of all things that exist? Every soul draws its meed of its acts on none but itself. No bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another. Your goal in the end is towards God. He will tell you the truth of the things about which you disputed about. Now, if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, God forgive him his sins, have mercy on his soul, and grant him the paradise, and I believe he has it. I don't believe that a man that did what he did for African Americans that we heard from our terrific, heroic. Why am I saying heroic? They were heroic. These people are heroes. Courageous souls. that were able to stand up in a time in the United States of America when it was not popular to be black, let alone a black Muslim at that time. It wasn't even popular to say you were black. Negro. Right? We wouldn't even use the term black. It wasn't popular. So these heroes who were behind us and that are still with us today, God have granted many of them with long life. Some have passed on. And Allah has saved some as a sign with us right now. For the young ones coming on. Me and the rest of us young fellows coming. There's a sister in Dallas named Sister Ruby B. Muhammad. I don't know if you all know her, but she used to be the personal aide to the Imam Elijah Muhammad out in Phoenix. She was a friend of Malcolm, a friend of Wilbur. She knew the whole family. And every time I see her, I told her, I said, Sister Ruby, she always has a smile on her face. She's always upbeat. Now you notice the difference between the young group and the old group. The older group always seem that ain't nothing going wrong. Even if it's going bad, they all right. All nice God. Everything will be all right. That's the older group. My group and the ones under me, oh man, what's happening? I was scared. So I used to tell Sister Ruby, I said, Sister Ruby, every time I see you and I see that smile on your face, I don't worry about a thing. Because if you are still here after what you went through, and you paved the way for us. It wasn't popular to walk down the streets of Atlanta, Georgia, or Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from, up the street from you all. I'm from the South, Jacksonville, Florida, and I sold my 750 papers. I sold my papers. Yeah, I did. I sold my 750 Mama Speaks. Now, why am I saying that? Because I got some of you all's papers, not you here. But I used to get some of those brothers' papers that had all those children and those wives, or they had the wives and the children and had jobs and couldn't go sell the papers. And I would always tell them, don't worry about it. Well, brother Lieutenant, I said, don't worry about the captain. Just do what you need to pay for your papers. I'm going to come by and get them and sell them. And I would go, after I knocked out my quota, my 300, I could knock my 300 down in no time. And I just padded it up for my squad. So I took it up to 750, and then I would still go get the other papers and sell. I must have been selling 1,500 Muhammad Speaks a week. Because the rest of the money on the extra papers, as you all know, was already paid for, right? Those papers paid for, so that was money that went in my pocket. Imam Suleiman, I got to acknowledge my good friend here, Imam Suleiman, assistant Imam. But I know him a long time back in California, so good to see him here this evening too. And I saw Mansour yesterday. So, but anyway, he knows his family comes from that school too. He understands that. But I would sell those people. Now, you couldn't, if you weren't courageous and if they didn't believe in God, I'm talking about the men now. I'm on the brothers now. If you didn't believe in God, there was no way. Now, you didn't believe in Farah. I know we were told Farah was God. But remember, I just gave you the prayer that Brother Earl started saying. This prayer that the Imam Elijah Muhammad gave us, which was our Fatiha, we open every meeting. How do we open our meetings, Brother Earl?
In the name of Allah,
and then we would say this prayer. All right? Now we pray Al-Fatiha as the opening prayer. The often repeated verses. It is called Al-Muthani, the one that's repeated often and often. Al-Quran al-Azim, the grand Quran, or the powerful Quran, the mighty Quran. But this was the verse that we would say, this was what we said more than any other prayer. And those of us who didn't know Salat, making prostration at that time, we would stand up, say, truly my prayer, my service of sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the world. Notice, not W.B. Farah. Hello. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us a prayer that conditioned our mind and had us to say it over and over. Your God that you are worshiping and you should give your life to and your service to is the Lord of the worlds, not W.D. Farad. Oh yeah, you got it, sister. So while he was using this strategy and a stratagem that he got from W.D. Farrar, he was also saying, on the other hand, I have to teach my people a prayer that they have to depend upon the real God, the Lord of all the worlds, and not this man and not themselves as the black God. The prayer, we said it over and over. And look at the next verse, and this was a part of it. No partners has he. Oh boy. You can't tell us about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You got to slow down and think about what he gave us. And I was sharing with my brother yesterday. Right. I was telling him, now how many of us have Message to the Black Man? I know the Pioneers got it. I still have mine in my library, Message to the Black Man. How many of you all remember the title of chapter 5? Now you can't raise because I told you, so you can't raise your hand. How many people in here that have Message to the Black Man remember the title of chapter 5? This is important. It's connected with what I'm giving you right now. How many people here remember the title of chapter 5? You don't. You do? You remember it?
No, I'm ashamed of not remembering.
No, don't be ashamed. No, and this not. You can't fail the test. It's not a test to fail. I'm just trying to discuss. We Muslims, we brothers and sisters, we family. I'm just bringing something to our mind to show you how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad conditioned us to accept Imam W.D. Muhammad before he even became the leader of our community. And when he started teaching us. Now, I'm going to tell you, and you can go back home and check this for yourself. Pay attention. The title of the 5th chapter of Message to the Black Man is this. What is Islam? Yeah, that's the title of that chapter 5. What is Islam? And when you start reading what Honorable Elijah Muhammad, go home tonight, pull it off your shelf, blow the dust off of it, and open up chapter 5. So all these critics, all these naysayers, who did not study and do not study, as Imam Furqan was pointing out earlier, that don't give justice and tribute to us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us enough that he cannot be charged with not pointing us in the right direction. He can say, I taught you the prayer of Ibrahim from the Quran. Yes. And look at the second part of this. The second of verse 163. La, I'm going to give it Arabic. Sharika lahu. وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ وَأَنَّ أَوْلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. No associates or partners has he. La sharik, shirk. No shirk. So here we are, standing up in the Nation of Islam, talking about W.D. Farrar is God, looking in the mirror, talking about the black man is God, but saying a prayer, no partners has he. And wait a minute. وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ. I am commanded to have no partners besides him. That's what he taught us. I learned that prayer as an 18-year-old teenager when I came into temple number 66 under Minister Michael, who came from Rock up in Atlanta, Georgia. Had the MBA from Harvard that was the vice president of Atlanta Life Insurance Company standing out there in the front. You all know who he was. Selling 1,000 Muhammad Speaks out there, and got fired from Atlanta Life because on his lunch break in Atlanta, he was the vice president of Atlanta Life Insurance Company back in the 70s here in Atlanta. MBA from Harvard. Some of y'all know him. Listen, I was just telling AK, he's a friend of him. He is now, look how Allah bless him now. He's in Philadelphia. I stay in touch with him. I go to Philly every couple of months. He is the CEO this year of a corporation that does $2.4 billion of sales every single year. Minister Michael from Atlanta, Georgia, VP, that they fired him. Man got fired for selling Muhammad Speaks newspapers on his lunch break. And he never gave up, never quit. Came to Jacksonville and became the minister of Temple number 66. And that was my teacher, my mentor. So every time I go to Philadelphia, he's in the Jumu'ah, he's in the Talim, and I make sure to acknowledge the wombs that gave me birth. That's who helped me become a man. And Captain Jimmy Musa, now Abdullah Shah, one of the wealthiest Muslims we have in this community, and I remember him as a pioneer sacrificing in Jacksonville. He had 7 children, Brother Earl, poor man, struggling, living hardly, doing hardly a bunch of nothing, and they out there making money. Now this brother is one of the wealthiest, multi-millionaire, quiet, one of the wealthiest Muslims in our community in the whole United States of America. Former captain in the Nation of Islam. And he attributes it to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Imam W. Dean Muhammad. Minister Michael, I'm showing you how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad conditioned us now. And don't let me forget to tell you about what's in that chapter, What is Islam? Because I'm digressing, but I want to get to this point and finish it. Minister Michael, when Imam Muhammad met him in Baltimore, Philly, he told him, he said Imam Muhammad had Harvard Business Review. He was sitting at a dinner table, much like this. And he's told him, he said, we should read Harvard Business Journal. So one of the brothers at the table said, we have a Harvard graduate here that's in our committee. He said, from Harvard MBA. There's a difference from going to Harvard and getting a Harvard MBA. He said, we have one here at the table with an MBA. So Imam Muhammad said, who? He said, Michael Rashid, that's his name now, said he has a Harvard MBA. The Imam said, you do? You are going to be the CEO of CPC. This happened some years ago now. Because he called me immediately. He and I, we stay together, so we're very close. So he called me, Yahya, Imam Muhammad has tapped me as the CEO for CPC. Now, if we didn't have saboteurs in our community to cut the man's legs off, they cut his legs out from on them before he even got a chance. If he had been, by the grace, Allah knows best, but if he had been the head of the CEO of CPC, he would have been able to help us do what he did for that company. When he went to that company was doing $300 million in revenue. Michael Rashid took the company to $2.4 million a year. 2.4 billion with a B. Our brother. But here's what he said for our pioneers. When Imam told him about Harvard, he said, Brother Imam, Harvard did not teach me business. Imam said, what? He said, Harvard didn't teach me business. He said, Harvard gave me theory. I learned business from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what he told him. So you see this suit I have on? Listen, I was selling suits in the Nation of Islam days. And you know where they came from? I'm going to tell you. They came from Atlanta, Georgia, because Minister Rock was selling suits. How many of y'all remember that? Hold your hands up if you are. See? So that's how far back suit sales go. Yeah, I was selling suits because Rock sent them down to Jacksonville. Minister Michael got the suits. He said, Lieutenant John, I was Lieutenant John 5X. He said, Lieutenant John 5, I got some suits for you. And they were beautiful suits. So I sold suits in 1975. And here I am again. Selling suits. But this one has W.D. Muhammad, WDM, GVB. And these are high quality, much higher quality than the suits we had back then. I should know now, a quiet kept secret, I'm also a tailor. No, I'm a tailor. I'm a tailor. My father was a tailor. I used to make all my clothes in high school when I was in Florida. So I know a fine suit. As soon as Brother Earl walked in here tonight, I said, whoa, okay, all right, he know how to dress. Ask him what I told him. I said, man, you have on a fine suit. Some of y'all, I ain't comment on your suits, but I did comment on Brother Brother Earl suits. Now, don't get upset. I ain't picking on you now. I'm just saying. Quality jumps out. And when I saw the GVB brothers, I know all the GVB brothers. As soon as they stepped in, I just looked at it. I said, I know our product. I know a fine suit when I see it. And AK got on a nice one back there. Lawrence Champagne got on a nice one. I just look at them. I can tell. They ain't got no glued. They don't have no glued pads in the shoulder. It's all stitched. Some of y'all trying to keep them shoulder pads in place because you got that glue in it. All right? So I learned these things in the Nation of Islam. I'm bringing this to your attention. Now let's conclude this point. So here's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad giving us a prayer that says to us, there is no God, that the real God is Allah. And there is no partners we should have with him. And that we have been commanded not to do this. Now you tell me how so many of us missed that and Imam W.D. Muhammad didn't. How did we miss it? It's right there, and we said this prayer every day. And while we were saying the prayer, we finished the prayer, black man is God, brother. That's not what's there. W.D. Farad is God, but that's not what's there. Farad's name is not here. Allah's name is there. Rabbil Alameen, Lord of all the world, is there. And we're told to have no partners, no shirts, no associates. So can the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I'm sure, can he stand up on the day of judgment and say, Allah, I gave them the prayer of Tawheed from your book. I absolve myself of any wrong. Now, if they didn't see it, they didn't see it. We can't blame him. So you tell all those critics and condemners of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you tell them, say, brother, it's really our fault. He gave us the prayer of Tawheed and gave us the prayer when we were supposed to have no partners in shirt, and we didn't see it. And he wrote in the book, what is Islam? Now here it is. You can go home and check it tonight, and I know some of y'all will. And if I'm not correct, you come tomorrow for Talim and tell me what I said wasn't correct. But you better bring that book. What is Islam? We believe in the Islam, this is what chapter 5 says in Message to the Black Man. Under what is Islam? Listen to this. We believe in the Islam of the Holy Quran. Now, I know it's there because I got into a debate with one of the new NOI members in a bookstore one day, and he was running me down this black God thing, and I told him, I said, listen, brother, I said, we don't even need to debate this. I said, what do you know about God? God is creator of everything. He does whatever he wants. I said, okay, very good. If you can create for me one leaf out of nowhere, I will make sajda to you right now. Just one leaf. I don't need a branch. I don't need a tree. Just one leaf. Say kun, fire kun, and a leaf appear, and I will bow right now. And he's looking at me, I said, how you God and you can't produce a leaf? Now the brothers, I always have this joke that I tell. I said, and you kind of alluded to it, brother. I said, now one thing we had that brought us back to reality, or brought them back to reality, I wasn't married back in them days, brought us back to reality, those sisters didn't buy that. They didn't buy the black man, and they had a way of knocking these brothers down. I used to hear them. You're the black God, huh? Well, black God, can you turn our lights back on because Georgia Power Electric just turned them on? You're black God in the dark. And you know, we had them scientists, Lawrence. We had them scientists. Well, I told you, the black man, 4 hours said the black man spent himself out of 3 wounds of triple darkness. And I'm in the dark, so I'm going to evolve myself. So I said, brother, I don't have time for you to evolve from triple wounds. Can you just turn the lights on? So reality, bam, just hit him upside the head. They had another way of doing it. I heard these things. A God, they are towing your car. You haven't paid that car note, and they're taking God's car back. So, here go the black guy standing there, hey man, bring my car back. Say the devil gone with the God's car. Just crazy. So just so much reality that these sisters, they really wasn't buying this black God thing. You hear them? They said, that's right, brother. I said, well, okay, black God. That's like I tell a new breed now. You know, Suleiman, I got the new breed now. Because see, the young ones now, I'm Khalifa. See, it's Arabic now, it ain't English no more. They don't use the black God. I'm the Khalifa. So still, you got to acknowledge the Khalifa. You ain't know what Khalifa means. We ain't using it. I'm the Khalifa. So she said, okay, Khalifa. Can you get to ruling and bring us some food, Khalifa? You the ruler of the earth, Khalifa, and we ain't got no food in the refrigerator. You the Khalifa? So, brother, y'all need to leave that stuff alone. We believe, Muhammad said, in the Islam of the Holy Quran. So I said to the NOI brother, the current brother, I said, brother, is W.D. Farad in the Holy Quran as God? He said, no. I said, and you aren't following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I said, is the black man in the Quran as God? He said, no. I said, according to the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we believe in the Islam of the Holy Quran. He goes on, listing the 5 pillars of Islam in the message to the black man under what is Islam. So can he be charged if he put it in black and white? He can stand up on the day of judgment and say, God, I told them, we believe in the Islam of the Holy Quran. We believe in the Prophet Muhammad. That's in there. Go back and look at it. He gave us the pillars, the principles of Islam. You say, well, he also told us W.D. Farad was God. Imam W.D. Muhammad said, when he was put out of the Nation of Islam one time, many times, and he said that his mother, Sister Clara, may Allah forgive her sins, have mercy on her soul, and grant her to paradise. And I believe they're already there. So really it's fruitless for us. It's useless for us back over here to be arguing about who's in paradise. We ain't in control of no paradise. And it's useless and fruitless for you to be condemning people to hell. You ain't a keeper of hell. Who want that job? Who want that job? The gatekeeper of hell. And you're going to be right there standing up assigning who's going to hell and what level of hell. You don't want that job. So get a grip. And realize those people you're talking about more than likely are in a better condition and a situation than we are right back here. They've already gone on. And they've received whatever judgment that God is going to give them. And Allah is Al-Ghafur Rahim. He's often forgiving and most merciful. And they asked Muhammad, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, present peace be upon him, Does Allah forgive all sins, even the sin of shirk? Associating God with God, and the Prophet thought about it, and he says, yes, he forgives even that sin if the person turns away from their shirk. So by his statement, by Prophet Muhammad's statement, all of us who were believing erroneously that W.D. Farad was God, and believing that the black man was God, those of us who stood up and say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, that sin has been erased from you. Not by my saying, by Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon him. He forgave us. Our whole community has been forgiven. And I heard Imam Furqan, he was mentioning, we were talking, and he was saying that someone mentioned that in the history, the immigrant point, that in the whole history of Islam, someone was mentioning this, that, no, it was, you mentioned that. What's your name again, my friend? Brother Ron Shakir. Ron was saying this. He heard an interview, someone doing an interview. And he said in the whole history of Islam, Imam W.D. Muhammad converted the largest mass of humanity in the whole history of Islam at one time. Now, where's the precedent for that? When you go to Hajj, and we have Imam Suleiman who arranges the Hajj now, watching he and his wife does that. When you go to Hajj and you're on the road from Mecca to Medina, I prayed there. There's a spot called Masjid Qiblatain, the Masjid of two Qiblas. Some of you all are Hajjis, you know. And you know the history and you know the story. That the Prophet was turning in a certain area and the command came, turn this way. And they all, it was a moment, Allah addressing the crowd, said it was a momentous turn, a momentous change. And they turned to that Qibla that would please Muhammad the Prophet and his father, which was to Mecca, away from Jerusalem to Mecca. When Imam W.D. Muhammad, as one of the brothers said earlier, the first one that made it down on the radio, the first one to recite Al-Fatiha in the public, on the radio, across this country was Imam W.D. Muhammad, had it done on the radio. That's our history, all right? And I learned Salat over the telephone. Hook up. Who remember it? He told us what to do on a telephone without even watching him, and we followed him, and we learned how to make Salat and search that by listening on a telephone. All over this country. The whole Muslim community under his leadership was on a hookup. And we learned our Salat on a phone. And you know how difficult that is, learning it looking at somebody. Now, we made all kind of mistakes, but the point was we made our first community Salat on the telephone, and we were all connected around this country. Huh? And Imam W.D. Muhammad converted all of us, more than 2 million Muslims, at one time. And he disbanded a military unit without firing a shot. Got rid of killers, killer captains, killer lieutenants. One punch to the solarplex killers. He disbanded all. Got rid of a whole military unit and didn't fire one shot. Obama had to get rid of his general recently, didn't he? Strip him. He let him keep his bars. The Imam got us out of our bars. I had my lieutenant bar. I had my lieutenant cap. And I'm going to tell you what I did with my suit. I told you I was a tailor. All I did was pick off all of the bars, pull the stripe off of it, clean it up. I had me a nice blue walking suit. Yeah, that's what I did. I saved the cap for memorabilia for the children in the future to come, just for the archive, all right? So this is what we have to recount this history. And Imam Furqan again mentioned it. We don't let anybody tell us how to present our history and our leader. I shared that with you all in Jummah yesterday. How you going to let somebody come in your community that you built, that you sacrifice your money, And Allah says in the Quran, and I don't have time, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to give you the references because I don't have time to go through all of it. In chapter 18, verse 30, that not one deed will be lost of any one of you that did a single deed. You will not lose any of that. So how are you going to let somebody, I was in Washington, D.C. last week, and they got some nonsense up there in the masjid that the pioneers built 50 years ago from the ground up. Under the Imam Elijah Muhammad, they built that temple in Washington. And they got this nonsense in the masjid, and I blew them out of the door. You can't mention Imam W.D. Muhammad's name in Juma. You can't mention Imam W.D. Muhammad's name in Talim. You can't mention the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's name in Juma. I told them, I said, let me tell y'all what y'all need in this masjid. Y'all need some Khalid bin Walids. Y'all need some General Khalid bin Walids and some Lieutenant General Khalid bin Walids. Yeah, when they walk up in this masjid, you tell them this was built by us. This was built by our money. We didn't send for any money from Saudi, from Kuwait, from Dubai, from Abu Dhabi. We pitched our pennies and our dollars, and we sacrificed and built this. And if you're not going to respect it, you get the hell out of here, because you're not going to tear this house down. That's what I told them in Washington, D.C. That's what I told them in Philadelphia. That's what I'm telling them around this country. And you pioneers, you can't let my group come in here, my age group. You can't let the next generation below me come in here and act like what you did don't count. You can't allow that. Because if it wasn't for you, there would be no Imam Yahya Abdullah. If it wasn't for you, there would be no Imam Qasim Ahmed. If it wasn't for you, there would be no Imam Fahim Shuaib. If it wasn't for you, there would be no Imam Suleiman. There would be no Imam Mansur Sabri. There would be no Imam Farrakhan. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here. So you don't have to know the Arabic I know. You don't have to know Alif Bat Ta. Forget about that. Let the youngsters learn that. Like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, W.D. Farrar told his Honorable Elijah Muhammad, say, you go on and do your work. Your work is so important. Teach your son the Quran. Teach your son that, and he will come later. You teach your grandchildren. You give them an opportunity to learn that. You have already built the house. Don't let them tear it down. And if they start talking stupid, those of you all who used to be lieutenant, say, I got to put my lieutenant hat back on. Get on your cane. I got to get my lieutenant hat on because I got to roll some of them down the steps today. You ain't going to tear this up. Too much blood, sweat, and tears and dollars have been spent. We sacrifice too much. You bake too many bean pies. You cook too many bean soup. You made too many breads, puddings, and cherry pies, and blueberry cheese. You sold too many Muhammad speaks. You went out and got too many hard-headed fish, Laz and Lazarine. You had to fight to get them to the temple. You put too much time in it. And that's why we're here honoring you tonight. Because you cleared the way. You cleared out the forest. You cleared the trees so that I could have a better and a smoother path to walk on. Everything you did was valuable. And God said that none of it will be lost. You will have your place among the shining stars in paradise. Peace be with you. Assalamu alaikum.